So hi Wonga, thank you for joining me on what is actually my first episode with the Biz Corner with me, Lance. So
This is your first episode.
this is gonna be the first one, yes. Lucky
Okay.
you. so so yeah, man. Let's hear a bit about you and what you do, and yeah, maybe give me a bit of your background. You know what you did in school. Where you come from, that type of thing.
Okay, my name is Wonga 24. Surname is Vakala, originally from Port Elizabeth in a small township called Motherwell. I grew up there with my mother and my father and my two brothers. I'm the middle one. So I had my own issues. You know what they say about middle babies. I had my own issues. So I attended primary school in Motherwell, and then high school I attended in Strelitzia in Utrecht.
Okay.
That's when I discovered my passion for computers. Actually, I discovered my passion in grade 5. I was selected as the top student in computer class. Then I went to Joburg, to SABC and stuff like that. There was a quiz show, Wise Up. Then I won the competition there. So in high school, I continued with my passion for computers. I took computer as a subject. I think it was newly introduced then, which is now known as CAT. So I took it as a subject. I was top performer in computer, in CAT classes throughout my whole high school career. I didn't want anyone to beat me because I had passion for it. In my neighborhood, I used to do mixtapes for people while it was still a fashion, pirating CDs then. And I used to fix people's computers and stuff like that. So that's when my passion for computers started. And I knew right then that after high school, I wanted to do IT. I wanted to do IT. It doesn't matter whether it's programming or whether it's software development or whatever. I had dreams of being a lawyer, so they died in high school. And then I couldn't get the required APS points in NMMU. So, and I didn't want to have a bridge year. I didn't want to take any course just to get in. I didn't want that. I don't know why, but I didn't want that. So I went to a college in PE North End. It was called EC Academy then. So I went there. They didn't have programming or software development. They only had technical support. Boston didn't take me. Varsity College was too expensive. CTI was too expensive. So I had to take something from in the price range that my parents could afford. So we took that one. I did technical support there. 2012 was my first year. I graduated. It was a 2-year course. I graduated the following year. The following year, before my graduation, they offered me a position to be a junior IT lecturer because of my marks, just to stand in for 6 months or 8 months until they find someone permanent. So I did that. I flipped and enjoyed it. It was so amazing. Like I didn't know I could enjoy teaching IT. Like, I really enjoyed it. But then after 6 months, they canceled my contract. I thought they were gonna make me permanent. I had hopes. I got attached basically to the job. I got attached, so they cut me off after 6 months, and then started my unemployment journey. Was unemployed for about 2 years. There was a company in Newton Park. I think it's Mac Engineering. It's Mac. So I think they were building or renovating or doing something on the Stanford Road in Coston.
Okay.
So they wanted people to stand at the road to count how many trucks pass by there, how many small cars, how many buses and stuff like that. So I got that job. They would call us 3 times a week, and they paid us 180 each day. It was cash.
Oh, wow.
It was cash. So they paid us 180 each day. So I did that the second day I was unemployed. That was the most daunting experience of my life. Like we had to be at their offices at 6 a.m. And they would give us the sheets, they would give us the pen and everything. At 6:30 exactly, when the traffic starts, it's at its peak, we must be at the robots counting cars. They will put in different locations. This week would go to Costin, this week would go to Summerstrand, this week would go to wherever they're building in
Wow.
new roads, whatever.
And you had to do that
So
manually.
we did
No
that, and then that
clicker.
faded. They call us twice a week.
I'm saying, did you have
I
to
didn't get
count
that.
the cars manually? Like did you ever
Manually, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. you get about 3 sheets and then a pen. And then they had a table with this is small vehicle, this is motorbikes, this is the trucks, this is
Oh
buses.
wow.
So we were literally counting the whole.
Yeah.
We did the Roman numbers thingy, the 111 then scratch, 111 scratch. So we did it. So we would stand there from 6:30 a.m. until 9 a.m. because that's when the traffic ends. 9 a.m. Then 9 a.m. they would fetch us. We go back to the office. Then we would count. We would do our counting, and we'll submit it. And then 4 p.m. we're back again until 6 p.m. Same thing. So we did that, and then they stopped calling us after a few months. They called us for once a week. Then they stopped calling some of us. Then they called few of us. Then that faded. Then I was unemployed for 2 years, and then 2015 May, I got a call that there's a computer school that's opening in New Brighton, PE, and they're looking for a computer lecturer. Apparently, I was recommended by my previous boss, so I took it. That was paying 2,500 rand per month. So what he did was he got a tender from social development. Social development didn't want to outsource or didn't want to fire the old people who worked there. So, but they wanted to teach them computer. So he got that tender to teach them computer. But then he hired me. Okay. So he hired me to do that for imagine teaching 60-year-old and 59-year-old, 58-year-olds computers. There was a lady, I'll never forget this. There was a lady, I asked her to go to open my computer. So she asked me where it is. I showed her on the screen. She left the mouse from the desk and touched it on the screen like this.
Oh. It was actually before a time, actually, using
I
the
had
touch
to
screen.
Like it's not touch screen. It's not touch screen. Just move your mouse. You move the mouse to the. It was an amazing experience. It was a fun experience. Mm-hmm.
I think the sound is a bit delayed. I was saying, so you were literally in one of those situations where you'd ask the guys to put in a CD and the thing would pop out and they would then put their cup there like a cup holder.
basically, yeah.
That's awesome, man. So
I enjoyed that.
From there?
From there, I got a call from WNS. Okay. I think no, someone recommended me WNS. But there's this BPO that's recently came to Port They're about 2 months old. They're looking for people with IT. Try your luck. I put in. Then that's when I got introduced to the internet and networking side of IT, and I fell in love with it. I was slow. At first. Like I didn't grasp the concept. Line is syncing, line is down, recreate port, and all of those things. Configuring routers. Like it took me a while. I won't lie. It took me a while to get. But then once I got hold of it and how it works, because I used to bother you. It took me a while.
Yeah, and that's where I had the privilege of actually working with you. I don't want to say what we did in our spare time at the back with that little table and the soccer man with that game. But yeah, man. So we worked together there at WNS.
That was later on, Lance. That was later on.
That was later on. But we worked there. That was how long ago? About 3 years ago from now. So that's what 2017, about 2016, 17.
I left there 2018 April. No, 2018 March. 2018 you left March. Before me.
Yes. So yeah, that was about 2016, 2017 that we worked together. There.
So 2015, 2016, 2017 we worked together.
Yeah. So basically you got your foundation while we were working at that place doing internet basically for customers, at least setting up the internet and the email and routers and that type of thing. So what did you do after that when you left there in 2018?
Initially I never wanted to move out of PE from my plans. I never wanted to leave PE. I think I like comfort zones. One of those people who like their comfort zone. But I didn't know the dangers of comfort zone there because you can't see it from the inside.
Yeah.
So we got promised team leader positions because of we've been here with the 10-year agents and we know our stuff and stuff like that. So we're acting team leaders for about 7 or 8 months. Then when the time for us to be made permanent came, they said that no, there are more team leaders on the 1023 department. Why not just move them to assurance? Why do we need to hire new people? So I was like, this is not working out. That led me to depression, bro, like real depression. Like, I was counting on this. Like I was planning around my life around being a team leader. I was planning my finances. I was planning to get married and all of those things. So when that didn't happen, it hit me hard. And then a friend of mine recommended me at Web Africa. So Web Africa, I rejected their offer first because I wasn't happy with the money. And then when I got the news that look, the team leader thing is not happening, so don't get your hopes up. So when Web Africa called me the second time, I took the job. I left PE in the beginning of April 2018. I moved to Cape Town. I don't have family. I don't know anyone. I only know my friend. So I did the same thing I was doing at Telcom, but then my knowledge was so limited. I thought I knew everything until I came here. I was like, wow, there's so many FNOs, not just Open 7 for hotel. Rockfood, there's CTV, there's Octotel, all of those things. So I got my networking and internet knowledge was just broadened wider, man. And what I found out here is that there are many ISPs in Cape Town and Joburg and Durban that don't have on-site technicians. And people would say on the phone, I will literally pay you to come to this. And I was like, but no, that's not allowed. I can't do that. So, but please get someone here. I'm willing to pay. I don't mind paying. I just need to get this working. So that's where my idea of Wonga Technologies came from. I saw a gap between the ISP and the customer, and I saw that there's some loss of communication between what the ISP is saying, what they are doing, and what the customer wants. I saw that there's a gap there. The communication gets lost somewhere. So basically, I wanted to be the middleman. I wanted to tell Mr. Customer, this is what the ISP is saying. Mr. ISP, this is what the customer wants. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be that guy between the ISP and the customer.
Okay.
Plus, I wanted to raise funds for my lobola as well.
So that's basically where you got the inspiration then to start Wonga Technologies. It's basically from you being on the job, working at an ISP, and then seeing where basically the gap is, and then just taking advantage of that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And
There's a big market for that.
Okay, no, definitely, I hear you. So, if you're looking at that situation now, so for people who are basically in their current job, doing whatever, whether it be in like with you being in customer care almost, and seeing that there is a gap in the market where your current employer is actually, kind of involved in. Um, let me hear what kind of conversation did you have with basically your team leader or your boss or your HR, saying that look, you want to leave. Did you have to bring that up to them, or did you just leave as in a normal resignation?
But I didn't have that conversation with them. I started just designing posters. I tried to get my business registered. That was done. And then I did posters and logo. I got somebody to do my logos, and then people saw it on social media, and then it trended, and then that came to work. That conversation came to work. And apparently there were guys there who wanted to do this, but they were procrastinating. So after they saw or after they heard that what I did, they started their own company. And because of they've been there for a while, they got a contract that all Web Africa customers are assisted by these people for onset.
Okay, awesome.
So they wanted to shut me down because of who are you? You've only been here for 3 months. You don't know Cape Town, you don't know South Africa, but you're doing this. So it was kind of awkward at the office. And then my manager had to call me on the side that I'm hearing these things in the kitchen. What's going on? Like, but this is what I just did. I didn't know I needed permission. Like, oh, okay, you don't need permission. No, we celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit, but then let's go to HR to make sure that you're not trespassing any laws or anything like that.
Okay.
So we went to HR. HR said to me that I don't advertise my business on my customer, on the customers, on Africa customers, as long as I don't promote my business and stuff like that. I said, okay, I'm cool with that. And even though I was not advertising to Web Africa, I was still getting customers on the side because I was on OLX, I was on Gumtree, I was on LinkedIn, I was on Facebook. I was putting myself out there.
Okay, so you were
My
doing
posters were not
this
even that
basically
fancy or that
while you were
professional. They were
still
just
working
basic.
for
But I just want, yeah, I was doing this while I was with Web Africa. I did it for 2 years while I'm with Web Africa for 2 years. So after work, I would go attend my call outs. I would arrive at a Cape Town is big. That's another disadvantage. I didn't know the places. So when customer said, I live in Fishhook, I live in Hout Bay, I didn't know Hout Bay. I'm like, okay, I'll see it after work. I was like, but my call out fee and the distance is not the same. This guy's live that far from where I am. So maybe I should look at it to review my call out fee. My call out fee was 550 then. It was 550. I have no car. I don't know Cape Town. I request an Uber. Uber says it's 300 rand to go there. I'm like, what the season? I still have to go back home. So, so I did that. But at the beginning, I wanted to get my name out there. It was not about the money. I wanted to get my name out there. I was so passionate about what I was doing, man. And I was so bold and I was so confident. I did work. I did call outs. So the guys that were contacted to Web Africa started coming to me and asking me, hey, you see doing this online, or you think you're doing this, where do you get your customers? I'm like, why? No, we just want to know. I'm like, wow, okay, I'll tell you later. Then they went to HR for HR to listen to my calls so that to make sure that I really don't advertise my business on my customers. So I was audited and they listened to all my calls to make sure that I'm not getting the customers at Web Africa. So it was tense, man. It was a lot of tension at the office, and you could feel that racial thing in the air, and the jealousy and all of those things. But I was bold. I was bold. Like I was determined that I want to marry this woman and I want to raise funds. I want to get my name out there.
Okay, yeah, man. So you're saying that you basically started your business that you have right now from seeing a gap basically in the market and then jumping in on that and starting your business, basically molding your business around that. So just a few questions maybe on that. Did you have a mentor maybe that maybe gave you some advice or something like that to look for that type of gap in the market? Yeah, so basically my question is, did you have a mentor?
No, no. I've never had a mentor. I don't have a mentor even now.
That's awesome, man. So you basically did all of that just out of your own, seeing the gap, taking advantage of it, and
the more I did it, the broader the scope became. It was no longer just setting up routers. People said that my Wi-Fi is not reaching the cottage at the back. Hi, I have a guest house. I have 2 cottages outside. I don't want to pay for 3 separate lines.
yeah, maybe just before you jump into that,
Okay.
what is it that Wonga Technologies does?
Okay. We've had to change that a little bit now because of the lockdown. So what we do, our main thing was we did network management. We did Wi-Fi extension. Basically, network management, we mean that we manage the network of your house or business or restaurant or whatever. It's managed by us. What that entails is, should your router be faulty, we replace it. Should your internet be slow or not working, you contact us first, then we contact your ISP on your behalf. So we are your first point of contact should there be any network issues in your house or business.
Does it only accommodate for internet connections, or do you guys do anything like different network setups, like making computers talk to each other, or printers, or stuff like
Now
that?
we're coming into that space. Currently, we're just doing the internet currently.
Okay. Okay, cool. So right now it's just internet, and you were saying about the ISPs and that. So you're not currently your own ISP. You still have the customers basically who have their ISP, and you just do the installations. And then do you manage the conversation between the customer and the ISP? Like, for instance, if there's any queries or stuff like that.
Yeah, for slow speeds, for latency issues, for no internet outages and stuff like that.
Okay, that's awesome, man. And just another question which you mentioned just now as well, which I was gonna get to as well. You said now in lockdown things have changed. So how has it changed? And then also how did COVID impact your business?
It impacted it badly because of the COVID. People didn't want technicians coming to their houses for safety purposes. You had to understand that. But then I make my money, I make my living from doing that. But then that was cut off. So I had no income for April, May, June. I had no income at all. And I was running out of funds. So I had to sit down and say, how can I reinvent myself? I spoke to my wife about becoming a reseller, and then she said that, but you work for Web Africa, you can't do both, and you eventually get caught. I'm like, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And then she said, if you're willing to take it, I'm down with you. So I started becoming a reseller July, but I went into that without looking at the risks. I won't lie to you. I didn't look at the risks of that. To me, it looked simple. I get the service, I sell it. That's all. I didn't look at the risk. I didn't try to mitigate the risk and the cost and all of that. So when I started that, instead I wanted cash flow. I wanted to be money flowing in the business and coming in the business. So, and I saw a lot on social media that Black people are not really exposed to ISPs and their deals. So they still buy 1 gig data for 149, and they're complaining so much on social media. Like there were a lot of conversations where Black people are complaining about data prices. It's lockdown. People need data and they're frustrated, but then they're spending too much money and there's no money coming in. So I wanted to instead of recommending them to ISPs like I did before, I'm like, no, you know what? I'm gonna sell you guys LTE deals at my own pricing. So I won't make it expensive. I'll make it reachable to you guys. So I started that. I lost so much money for the first 3 months. I lost so much money. Like instead of that bringing me money, and there was a moment where I wanted to quit. Like I'm done with this reselling thing. I don't want to do it anymore. Like it made me depressed some days, man. It made me depressed, especially around month end. People came with stories and stuff like that. And remember, I don't offer contracts. I offer month to month. I don't like contracts. So people took that to an advantage as month to month. So I won't pay this month, I'll pay the other month. But I'm like, no, month to month, you pay every month until you decide to cancel. Oh, really? I'm like, but I sent you the terms and conditions. You agreed. I didn't read through, and you can't force them to pay. If they're not paying, they're not paying. I lost a lot of money for the first 3 months. It's only now, end of October, that I feel like we're getting to a stable place. We're getting to a stable place.
Yeah, just listening to what you're saying with people not basically paying the monthly subscription for that. Um, I'm not going to ask a question specifically about that, but how big is your team now?
How big is my what?
Your team,
My team.
like Wonga Technologies, does that only consist of you and your wife, or do you have other people working
I have a
for
team in
Wonga
Joburg
Technologies as well?
who works for me. His name is Akim. He works for me in Joburg. He covers my callouts in Joburg. And then we are four here in Cape Town. So that's 5 people.
And that's all employed by Wonga Technologies. That's awesome, man. And then maybe just one more thing that I wanted to ask you is, um, when it comes to your business, because okay, the obviously, like I told you, the purpose of this channel is to basically expose how you can start a business from nothing. And looking at your story, where you saw a gap in the market, you jumped on it, and now you're basically doing it. You're living that. Maybe can you tell me how you started the actual business? Did you get it registered? Did you pay someone to do it? Did you do it yourself? How did that? How did you come? How did you do that?
I only registered my business after 2 months of launching it. Basically, what I did, I first came up with a name, and then I bought a domain, and then we designed logos. That happened within a week. Then when I had the right logo, I published it, and then I asked someone to do posters for me. And then a friend of mine once asked me, "Dude, are you registered?" I'm like, "Crap, there's that." So I asked someone to register the business for me. He was doing the registration thingy. He did it for me. That was August 2018. That was 2 months after I launched my business.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. That's basically what I wanted to know. So for basically just the everyday person, they can also do that. And you say you had someone do it for you, so you didn't do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just one other question now. So where, or not one, there'll be just a few more. Where do you see Wonga Technologies going?
Yeah, we still want to be in the same space, but we want to branch into new markets. One thing lockdown forced me to learn is that don't be afraid to reinvent yourself and your business. Like, don't be afraid to reinvent. Don't define yourself so much that you become strict or you become stubborn to this one way. I had to reinvent myself. Like, I had to say, this is Wonga Technologies, the reselling business, but the network management stuff has not stopped. We're still continuing with that. So I see my business still in the same market, but at a bigger scale. In 2 years' time, we want to have offices in Cape Town. We want to have an office in Johannesburg. And then we'll slowly move down to Durban, East London, and Port Elizabeth.
That's awesome, man. So in the future, you basically want a Wonga in each home.
Basically, basically, yeah, basically, yeah.
That's awesome, man. So just lastly, Wonga, or second lastly, do you have like a mantra or something that you live by, something that you maybe do, like for instance, some people have certain things they do in the morning before they wake up. Do you have something like that you do?
I wake up and pray. I try and wake up early to pray because I believe, or what I noticed, that if I wake up at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., I basically live that day, or I don't start that day. I catch that day during the day, whatever. But if I wake up early, I decide how the day is gonna look or what's gonna happen on this day. And if I wake up at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., oh, that day is gone, bro. You just flow with what's going on the day. But if you wake up early, you decide what I'm going to do today, this is what's going to happen today. And you set your own goals for that day.
Most definitely, most definitely. And do you read by any chance books?
I don't read books, but I do read articles about the kind of business I'm in. I do read about people who started with nothing, but they are big now. Look at the guy Mark from RSA Web. He started RSA Web from his house. He had his friend who owns Octotel. They started that from their house. Then they moved to a dirty office in town. The office had cockroaches and stuff like that, and they only had two people working for them. But now RSA Web is what the third biggest ISP in Cape Town. Octotel is number one FNO in Cape Town. So look at where they are. So I try and read up on those stories, people who are in my field and where the heights they've reached. You know, I try to inbox them on LinkedIn, but I never get any responses. I never get any responses.
No, that's awesome, man. Okay, so maybe just last thing before I let you go, Wonga. If anyone had to want to start their business now, and they didn't have a clue about what they wanted to do, maybe they're sitting in a job like you were at the time. What would you tell them to do?
Find what you're passionate about. Find what you are passionate about. and see if you can make something out of that. And it doesn't always have to be big. You can start small. What I found out is that sometimes in life you have to take the first step, and then everything comes together, falls into place when you've taken the first step. Because of so many people are afraid to take the first step. It's that first step that's scary. Because but nowadays entrepreneurship, it's not an odd thing anymore. Everyone posts on Instagram or Facebook, on my grind, on my hustle, stuff like. But most of them, they on their couches or they in their beds, laying with their laptop. But you have to put the work ethic. You have to put the work ethic. There must be work behind the talk. You can't just say it and post it because it feels nice, or you will get you likes, or it'll trend or whatever. You have to put the work ethic, and then you can make noise. When I started my business, I would get to customers' houses at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. and they would ask, "Why so late?" I'm like, I had a busy day. I had customers all day. They don't know that I'm working for Web Africa, and they can't know that I'm working for another ISP. So I didn't know I had a busy day and stuff like that. Like, oh, okay, sure. I would finish around 7:30. I don't have a car. I didn't have a car then, so I would have to take an Uber to town, then take a taxi from town to Kaelich. So get home 9:30, 10 to 10. I'm dead tired. So I did that for a good year. Work and business. I wanted to put the work behind my business. So whenever I made noise on LinkedIn or Facebook, it's because of I put in the work behind it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Definitely. And I mean, it's paid off. I can see all the customers that you post on Facebook and your other social media. You know, I always look at them like, yes, I used to work with this guy. Now he's amazing. So this last thing, Wonga. So if anyone wants to reach out to you or follow you, where can they do that?
We have a Facebook page, Wonga Technologies. We're still doing our website. We're revamping our website currently. That's under construction. So we big on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Wonga Technologies. You can inbox us. There's a WhatsApp button there as well. It'll come directly straight to my WhatsApp. Or you can email us at info@wongatechnologies.co.za.
Awesome, man. So I'll put that down in the description, and people can check you guys out. When your website does go live, let me know, and I'll hook that up or put it in the description as well. So thank you so much for your time, Wonga.
Thank you so much, Lance, man. I enjoyed this. I haven't talked about my story in a while. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this, man.
That's awesome. It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for hanging out with me.